Hey YouTube, Wes here, checking in with my vinyl inbox for the month of August 2016. We're already well on our way into September now, just getting around to doing this wrap up of the things I picked up. Picked up quite a bit in August. It was just a busy month for picking up things. I had a lot of extra side income from various side jobs that I do, so I had a lot of spending money this month. So took some of it and put it into more records, which is what we all do. So let's go ahead and get into it. Let's try to not make this too long. Got a pretty good stack of stuff here to talk about. Actually, there were still two more down there that I didn't even grab. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into it. First thing I wanted to share with you this month is a book I picked up. Was at my local half-price books clone that's owned by Books A Million here we have in town, called Second and Charles. And being that they're affiliated with Books A Million, they sell new books as well in the store. And I was browsing the music section, as I normally do when I'm there, and happened to see this book here that I hadn't seen before. It's titled Old Records Never Die: One Man's Quest for His Vinyl and His Past by Eric Spitznagel. It features a foreword by Jeff Tweedy. And yeah, this is sort of a guy who had sold off his records, as a lot of us did when CDs came around, when CDs became the thing, as we moved from house to house, didn't want to lug our records everywhere. Slowly just sort of they disappeared over time. And he went on a quest to not just replace the albums that he lost, but to find the actual albums that he lost. So there were certain specific things, someone he had written his name on it, or someone had written something on the cover for him. Sort of unique ways of discerning that what were his original records and what wasn't. And it's kind of a really interesting story. Really interesting book to read. I'm down to the last 20 or so pages on it. It's been a really fun read, and for those of us that are record collectors, we eat this kind of stuff up. It goes into sort of the thrill of the dig and really hunting for something specific and hunting for something that you lost and you thought maybe never get back. A very common album, and you might find hundreds or thousands of copies of that particular album. But to find the one that was yours that you maybe sold 20 years ago, it's quite a challenge, and it's quite an interesting story and an interesting book, and I really enjoyed reading this. And he sort of digs into the current vinyl culture, collectors of nowadays, and how they collect, and the sort of the vinyl scene as it is today. So really great book. It was just released earlier this year in 2016, released in May, I believe. So it's not a real old book. I'll try to leave the Amazon link down in the show notes below. If you want to check this out for yourself, I highly recommend it. It's been a really good summertime read, and I really enjoyed it. So check that one out. Next up, continuing on with the top 40 on my 40th birthday, which will be next year, collecting of the top 40 singles that were on the week of my birth. Only got 3 this month. Didn't have a really good month with that. I need to get on that. I haven't ordered any more yet for September. But first thing we got in at number 5 for the week of March 19th, for the week of March 19th, 1977. The hit single number 5 on the charts, Dancing Queen by ABBA. So we got that. I believe this is the hit single. Coming in at number 14, it's I've Got Love on My Mind by Natalie Cole. And coming in at number 32 for that week was Gloria by the band Enchantment, disco-y type tune. So that was the singles I picked up for the month for my birthday top 40 at 40 kind of thing I'm doing. So let's go ahead and get into the LPs. First thing I'll share with you here, this is Leon Bridges' LP Coming Home from 2015. Been listening to this digitally for a while. Really enjoyed it. Sort of a modern take on classic soul. Really good, really enjoyable. A younger guy, I think he's like 27 or so. Just some really good classic sounding soul stuff. This could have been right out of the 60s, but a very good sound to it. This is an Amazon exclusive that they just recently released on a red vinyl. It's got a remake of the Columbia 6i white label on there, which is nice. And Amazon had a really good deal on this, and it was on Amazon Prime, so free shipping, so I couldn't pass that up. There's the inner sleeve. But yeah, just good sort of modern release of a very classic soul sounding album. I really like the closing track, River, but the whole album through and through is good. It's very good. It's very, very classic sounding, as I said, and very good soul stuff. So pick that up. And hopefully if I upload these in the correct order, you will have seen that in a Vinyl Discovery episode. This was the Vinyl Discovery episode for episode 1 of that series, the new album from Morgan Delt, Phase 0, released in August of 2016, so a new release. As I said in the Discovery episode, this is a modern psychedelic artist, very, very washy, California, summery kind of vibe, sound and stuff. A great summertime album and a great, really cool psychedelic kind of album. Once again, another one on red vinyl, but this is a deep, solid red color. Really nice. It's a really nice release on Sub Pop Records, loser edition of that. Next up is another pickup from the Half Price Books clone type store, the Second and Charles, a band I hear a lot about in the VC, but I had never actually listened to any of their stuff. I was just digging through the bins and I found this, and it was sealed, and it was marked for $6.75, which is just a ridiculous price for this album. This is an album from the band Sun. This is an album titled Domkirk. It's a live performance they did at a festival in, is it Sweden? Gothenburg, I think, is where this was done. Yeah, they did this performance in a church as part of a metal festival, I guess it was. And, you know, Sun are a sort of a doom metal type group, very sludgy, slow, melodic sounds. Really an interesting thing. I love the band Earth, which is sort of very similar to them, and hadn't picked up anything from Sun, but to pick up this sealed for $6.75, I had to grab this. I think I got this at the same time I got the book I talked about at the beginning there. There is that. It is a 2 LP set, as I said, live performance. There they are inside the church performing this live piece. This was originally only released on vinyl by Southern Lord. The only way to get it was released on vinyl. In 2005 is when it was released, I believe. It has since been reissued digitally, but yeah, for quite a while there, almost 10 years, I think, it was only available on vinyl, which is cool. And yeah, really nice, heavy Stoughton jacket, as Southern Lord typically does. This is the black vinyl version. There were some colored variants of this released when it was originally released. I think there was maybe 100 on red and 300 on clear or something. There was a few different colored, very limited color releases of this. Southern Lord does usually do a limited colored release when they initially release something, but yeah, to find a Sun record sealed for $6.75, I wasn't leaving that behind. I don't know if one of the employees were trying to pick this up themselves and priced it low for some reason, because it was in a weird section. It was in a section this really shouldn't have been in. It was a win for me, so that was an awesome pickup. And I really have been enjoying listening to this. As I said, it's very slow, sludgy, dark, kind of ambient kind of music. Since it's in a church, they use the organ in there, and it's awesome. If you just want some really dark, brooding, ambient kind of music, just killer stuff. Picked up another album for my the National Collection. This is their album Trouble Will Find Me. I believe it's 2013 is a release on this. Yep, Trouble Will Find Me, 2013 on the 4AD Records label. Of course, yeah. The National are just a great modern indie rock kind of band. Lead singer has a very unique voice, very deep, rich voice. It makes for some interesting songs. And I've been enjoying spinning this one, 2 LP set on 4AD. Had a $5 off coupon at Books A Million, so I used that to pick this up and get a good price on it. A couple of used LPs I picked up at Second and Charles at the same time I picked up the Sun record, I believe. First thing we have here is sort of a new age kind of slightly proggy kind of group here. Hadn't heard of them before. Just wanted to give it a try. I sampled a little bit of it and liked it. This is the band True Myth. I believe the album title is just True Myth. Stuff here. Very colorful. This is from 1984, I think. Or no, I'm sorry, from 1979. But yeah, the main reason I picked this up is because it has synthesizer, clavinet, and mellotron on it. So sometimes it gets kind of spacey, sometimes it's proggy, sometimes it's a little more just new agey, kind of easy. It's kind of in that time period where things were changing and a lot of styles were being tried and a lot of new technology was being introduced into the music community, and just a really interesting piece. So next up, I have a couple of finds from Arrow's Aim Records here in town, one of my favorite places to dig for used stuff. They do a really great job of curating a really interesting selection of used vinyl, and awesome place to shop if you're ever in Gainesville. Check it out. Got a couple things from their dollar bin to sort of offset the cost of what I'm going to show you after I show you these $2 bin items. First thing we got here is a Deutsche Grammophon piece of organ music. This is Helmut Walke spielt Bach. Helmut Walke plays Bach is what that means on the large organ church at St. Lawrence Akmar in the Netherlands. So yeah, just very big organ music. Awesome stuff. As I said, I love pipe organs. Bigger the better, in my opinion. Deutsche Grammophon for $1. Not going to pass that up. This next pickup was inspired by Mean Mr. Mayo. He showed this in one of his recent sort of vinyl finds of all kinds, I think he calls it, sort of his mixed bag of stuff that's not his typical collecting stuff, which is Beatles. He showed this album, talked about it. This is Neil Diamond's Taproot Manuscript. Kind of a bit of an interesting album from Neil Diamond. The way Joe described this album, it made me want to hear it. This is one you see a lot in dollar bins and thrift stores, so I made a mental note. Next time I see it, I'm going to grab it, and I did. Picked it up. Side A is more traditional Neil Diamond kind of standardy kind of sounds. It features the Cracklin' Rosie was the big hit on here, which is a big hit for him. Enjoyable. I mean, I'm okay with listening to this stuff. It was pretty good. But the side 2 is the, let me get what it's actually called, the actual name of it. It's called the African Trilogy of Folk Ballet. If you're a fan of Paul Simon's Graceland, you would probably like this. It's along the same veins. It was 10 years before Paul Simon did it, 10 plus years before Paul Simon did it. Yeah, mixing of African, native African kind of music and sounds and choruses with Western kind of music styles, and really interesting. I really dug side 2 a lot. Definitely a cool pickup. I'm glad Joe talked about this and made me aware that this was something interesting, and I'm glad to have this, and not ashamed of saying I have Neil Diamond in the collection. It does come with a nice booklet with some liner notes and stuff in it. And it is on the Uni label, but it does have a custom just black label, kind of interesting. Yeah, I really appreciate that he really took sort of a turn and tried to really do something interesting, do something different, and really put some effort into making something really interesting and unique, and I'm really happy with this. I like this album a lot. So thanks again, Joe, for turning me on to it. I know sometimes you watch, so hopefully you'll watch this. And those of you who are out there who are regular thrift store diggers, dollar bin diggers, pick that one up if you think you'd like it. Those $2 bin pickups were to offset the cost of this album that I found. It's another piece for my Flaming Lips collection. That is the soundtrack to the movie that they did, called Christmas on Mars. I have not seen the movie yet. There is actually a DVD in here of the movie. I just haven't got around to watching it. Haven't had a lot of time. As I said, I've been working a lot lately. Haven't had time to sit down and watch the movie. We watched some other movies this month. Yeah, some more sort of interesting, spacey, freak out kind of, not really Christmassy music, but maybe could be sort of seen as pastoral, I guess, a little bit. Interesting soundtrack. Been enjoying listening to it anyway. It does come with this is a really neat package also that they did. It does come with a 7-inch single, Silent Night and Lord Can You Hear Me, on white vinyl. And on the B-side, it's got It's Christmas Time Again. And as I said, a DVD of the actual movie itself, so I will watch it at some point. But that is included with the package, which is cool. And then there is just an art print there of some, I don't know, it's supposed to be the surface of Mars or something. I don't know exactly what that is, but that was included as well. And then, of course, the actual soundtrack itself pressed on green translucent vinyl. There is that. Nice piece of vinyl. This is pressed at GZ vinyl. So yeah, this was a really neat pickup I paid $15 for it. That's why I said I bought those other $2 bin albums, sort of offset the cost. So I got 3 albums for $17 instead of just one for $15. Sort of spread out my money a little bit. But yeah, this was a cool add-on to the Flaming Lips collection, something that was released far before I really knew anything about the band. So I was happy to add this one to the collection. Next thing I have to talk about was the second release last year from the band Beach House. This is their most recent release now. It's titled Thank Your Lucky Stars. On Sub Pop Records, as I said, released in late 2015. Beach House are a very modern, sort of washy, dream pop, dreamy kind of sound. They also released the album Depression Cherry last year. This one sounds a little bit darker than Depression Cherry and some of their previous stuff. I know the fans really love this album. I'm still working on getting into it. I've only heard it a few times so far. A good album, good solid album from them. But yeah, it's kind of dark almost feeling. Just sort of a starry inner sleeve on that one. Of course, since I just picked this up this year, this is not the first pressing or anything, but just a nice black vinyl pressing. Pressed at RTI as Sub Pop does usually. So sounds great. So that is Beach House with Thank Your Lucky Stars. Next up, we're just now getting to the Vinyl Me Please album of the month. Been enjoying Vinyl Me Please still. Really looking forward to the September album, which should be here in a few more days. Looking forward to hearing that one. But the album of the month for August was My Morning Jacket with Z. I believe this was 2005 was the original release. Yeah, 2005. I hadn't listened to My Morning Jacket in the past, so I didn't really know what to expect with this. Yeah, really enjoyed it, dug listening to it. The style is kind of all over the place. They're sort of an indie pop rock kind of thing, but they do a lot of different, there's a lot of different influences. There's some almost reggae-ish kind of influences and some just interesting stuff. Really colorful gatefold. Really like the aesthetic of the artwork on this album. And the vinyl itself is just incredible. A beautiful splattered vinyl, clear vinyl with splattered blue and black and pinkish kind of colors in there. Really pretty. 2 LP set pressed at GZ. Again, a lot of the Vinyl Me Please releases are pressed there. And then the print of the month is the original artwork for the album cover drawn by the lead singer, I guess you could say, Jim James. So you see sort of the original drawing he did for the cover art, so that was a cool print to get. So that was the Vinyl Me Please record of the month. I didn't get any add-ons. I just got the record of the month. As I said, been enjoying Vinyl Me Please. If you're interested in trying it for yourself, I'll leave a referral link in the show notes below. That helps me out. I would appreciate if you use that. If you decide you want to try Vinyl Me Please, I would appreciate if you would use that link. Next up, I got a pickup here. Went to my local record store. Here again, the owner knew that I was interested in adding some more Nils Fromm to the collection. He picked up that Nils Fromm album I showed last month about Ellis Island, the Ellis soundtrack. And at the same time, he had ordered this one, but it didn't come in. It came in on a later shipment, so it came in August. And that is the Late Night Tales for Nils Fromm. This is Nils Fromm doing covers. I didn't originally pick this up when it came out because it's a very expensive release, and I wasn't sure how much I was going to like Nils Fromm just doing cover songs. I really like his own work, but he really made these songs his own. Even though these are covers, they really don't follow the originals that tightly. They are very inventive, very experimental, very much a Nils Fromm album. So I'm glad I've actually added this to the collection now that I've had a chance to listen to some of it. A really good release from him. And yeah, I'm glad to have this one in the collection. I think I'm glad I got it, even though it was, as I said, it's a very expensive release for some reason. I believe these are imported. I pressed it MPO in France. So just kind of an expensive release, but I love Nils Fromm, and I'm glad to have this one in the collection. So Late Night Tales by Nils Fromm. If you're not familiar with the Late Night Tales section, the Late Night Tales releases, they sort of feature an artist, an electronic kind of artist doing a lot of covers. So I mean, he covers everyone from Nina Simone to Gene Autry to Miles Davis to himself, to Boards of Canada, all over the place. Late Night Tales by Nils Fromm, glad to have that in the collection. And while I was at the record store picking that up, the owner suggested I check this one out as well. This was in the used bin. I said he thought I might like this, and I do definitely like this. This is the band Amina with their album Puzzle from 2010. And Amina are more better known as the backing string band for Sigur Rós. So if you like Sigur Rós, you might like these guys. Really interesting sounds here. Really beautiful music, beautiful album. I'm really glad he recommended this to me. Nice inner sleeve on that one. It does have a download code, which I haven't tried yet to see if it's still working. Black vinyl, but a nice pressing. And as I said, it's very much, if you're a fan of Sigur Rós, I say check these guys out. Very beautiful music, very emotive, as Sigur Rós is. All right, getting down to the last two releases here, and as I said, this has been a busy month. I know this makes me a bit of a basic B, but I couldn't resist. The song's stuck in my head, and I like the album artwork on this one, and I enjoy the music. I can't deny it, even though it's poppy and it's everywhere. And that's the release from Halsey, Badlands. Of course, it's got New Americana on it, but through and through, just a good modern pop album. As I said, I really do like the artwork on this, or the photography, just the aesthetic of it. Some thank yous and liner notes in there, and that's on Astralworks Records on pink marble vinyl. Beautiful marble vinyl. Pressed at Rainbow Records though, but it's pretty good. It's not bad. I'm happy with it. And it's not expensive either, not an expensive release at all, since it's been selling a lot. For a gatefold colored vinyl with a download and everything, not expensive at all. So Halsey's Badlands is a pickup for the month. And last but definitely not least, I was digging at the Barnes & Noble store in Ocala. We don't have a Barnes & Noble's here in town anymore. Stopped in there when I was down that way and did a little bit of digging just to check out what they had. And that I picked up a modern release on Deutsche Grammophon. This is an album from Max Richter titled Recomposed by Max Richter, Vivaldi's The Four Seasons. So this is, Max Richter is kind of a modern composer, does a lot of different types of compositions, uses some electronics, uses some more acoustic kind of instruments, orchestra kind of stuff, blending a lot of different things together along the lines of, say, a Nils Fromm. Really interesting 2 LP set, as I said, on Deutsche Grammophon here. Nice packaging on that. There he is, sort of working through the composition there. Nice liner notes. This does feature a cool die-cut cover. Sort of, you can see the colors through there. Really nicely done. So the first LP is his recomposition of The Four Seasons, which is one of my favorite pieces of classical music ever. And then the second LP are just some compositions done by him and some more electronic-y kind of reworkings of some of the Four Seasons stuff. Really nice release here. Just pressed on black vinyl, nice heavyweight vinyl. And for some reason, I'm having trouble remembering the pressing plant. It's one of the higher-end pressing plants in the UK. Hopefully, I'll be able to put it on the screen here as where this was pressed. But as I said, a higher-end pressing plant that Deutsche Grammophon is using, and sounds amazing. And so I really enjoyed that. So those are my pickups for August 2016. Hope you stuck around through all of that. If you did, you're a champion. Thanks for sticking around. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope you're having a great month, great time yourself, enjoying yourself, and we'll see you again next time for more vinyl, more beer, whatever it is. Have a great day, great night. Thanks for watching. Cheers.